No, our kids know every game is a big game, so I want you to know that, when, we got off that plane of South Dakota and lost on the last play, we had to really assess, we put ourselves in a hole, losing those two games where we either had to lead in the fourth quarter or had the ball in the fourth quarter, knowing we put ourselves in a hole. So every game's been just as important because we had to dig ourselves out, and try to get hard fought wins. And, I'm proud of our kids because they did that, or this game we wouldn't be talking about. So for us, every game's big, but knowing that it's a number one team, defending national champ, yeah, our kids understand. And for success, it's about preparation, when your preparation meets opportunities. And, we'll have an opportunity this Saturday from a measuring stick standpoint, against a program that's been built over time. Great program. They lead every statistical category, probably offensively, defensively, wins in the country. But that's what you work for, as a player, as a coach, for those type of opportunities. So, we hope the ice castle can be packed.
Talk to the kids, and you preach leave no doubt all year. And considering where you're at in the standings and all the teams that are jockeying for these last few positions, has there been a more leave no doubt opportunity than the number one team in the country? Because this was, in essence, I would assume, locked up.
Yeah, I mean, they look at, I try not to. People, hey, you're ranked. Guess what, guys? There's teams that have more losses in the Missouri Valley than us, and they're still ranked ahead of us. So obviously, we don't get that type of respect, which we don't expect. You got to be able to, beat ranked teams. We beat one ranked team early at home, and those ranked wins mean a lot. It does. Last November 20th, when we're sitting in the room and we're trusting a committee to put you in, well, guess what? You have opportunities each and every Saturday to get those wins. And last year, week 10 against Missouri State, we didn't. And that was the reason. So, 6 wins, 7 wins, it better be against good opponents. And, right now we're still digging from the hole we put ourselves in, against Northern Iowa and South Dakota earlier in the year. And this game's just as big, and against a ranked team, a team that has I thought was a 22 game. Are you giving them an extra? I thought it was a 22 game win streak, but it might be 23. I thought, was it 23? 23? Yeah. And you know how hard it is to win college football games. So to win 23, there's a reason, but again, this is what you work for. Not many of these opportunities come to you. And so you just got to make the most of it.
Is it harder this year in particular because you're in a race with a couple of North Dakota teams that you didn't even, just from a scheduling standpoint, have an opportunity to put yourself in?
Yeah, you don't, but I guess that Ohio State loss really hurt us, So, for us, that's how it is. Can't change that. All I can do is focus on what we can control. And we got to make sure that we prepare our kids thoroughly, for Saturday at 12:02 in the Ice Castle, and make sure our kids are ready to play fundamentally disciplined football, because we're playing against the best, and they're very well fundamentals, very well disciplined. And, you cannot make mistakes against this opponent.
But they have a new staff. I know that hasn't changed much. You didn't play them last year, so you've done that year without playing them. Does that come into play at all?
No, Coach Rogers done a great job. He helped build that program. He played there. He was their defensive coordinator. They got the best defense in the country. So he helped build that program, and it took Coach Stiegelmeyer 20-some years to win that national championship, and he did it the right way. Stepped away, got that national championship, and left it in good hands with a guy that believes in South Dakota State, played for him, has coached there. So they haven't missed a beat, from what, they were when we played them 2 years ago. But we tried to in the spring. There was 2 games, before a scrimmage. We would watch South Dakota State, the UNI South Dakota State, a quarter each Saturday before we went on the field in scrimmage, because we knew those 2 teams we didn't get to see during the season. So, we tried to gain as much familiarity. Our kids have forgotten that though, going through a season. But in the spring, we tried to watch those games and see and prepare ourselves for, because we didn't get to play them last year.
I think I've been asked to Yankees, just three of many.
You don't want me to sleep tonight too, huh, Dan? No, they do. I mean, when I put up their, we do our introduction to South Dakota State, and, I'll usually put up 3 players. I think I could put up their whole defense because either they're all league players or all Americans. Offensively, their quarterback, their tailback's best in the conference. The Janke brothers, they got 10 6-year football players playing on that team, so they're very experienced. Then you add up the games. Just add up their games. The last 3 seasons, take the spring season when they played in the national championship, take the next season, take the next season. They've played over 40-some games in 3 years. And you get better with practice. So we always talk about spring ball. Well, you make the playoffs and play an extra 5 weeks, 6 weeks. All of a sudden now those games, you're not only getting your scout team better, you're developing your younger players, you're developing those players playing together. So they've played a lot of football, and it shows up on film. You watch them. I took we looked at their explosive runs against them. I think we only found 6. And explosive runs are 12-plus run plays. So again, they bend, don't break, play solid defense, and that's the reason they're number 1 in the country.
What's the message you want to give the fans to come out here and support this team on 3 and win the last game of the regular season here at home?
Yeah, I tell my kids always say, Coach, we got to get fans. I say, gosh, I got to focus in on, making sure our team is ready and prepared. And, we want to put a team on that field that this community is proud of, that they want to come out and support, knowing the ramifications of this game, playing the best team in the country is great entertainment. And, I'm proud of our kids. We represent the Valley, and I certainly would love to see a packed house. I told our kids this morning, South Dakota State's been building this over time. And they talked about, last week they had the biggest crowd in the history of South Dakota State, 19,000 people that watched them play North Dakota State. So it takes time. We got to earn the trust of the community. We got to put a great product on the field. We got to continue to win games. Those things that people get excited, because in the social media realm that we've created, they can carry their phone anywhere and watch the game anywhere they want to be. So, it's a little bit different. And we got to do maybe some things different just to get people here and in these, because our kids do feel, student section. I know, we saying myself in football purchased 250, shirts to give to the first 250 students that come to the game. And Mr. Reuter matched us and bought 250. So there's 500 T-shirts. We'll do anything. Would love to see a great student section behind their bench. And again, they're going to see a great team playing, and they're going to see a great team in us too.
Doug, you mentioned kind of all season about how you haven't necessarily seen your team hit their potential, hit their peak yet. You haven't seen the offense at its peak in one game with the defense playing at the same time. What does it take in order to pull out a performance like that, where you're just everywhere, you're just hitting it all?
I mean, that's teaching. That's us, and we go over it, nonstop, constantly, of putting all 3 phases of the game together. And I don't believe we've seen it yet. We're still in that process. It's senior week, and one thing we do with our seniors, and we have some kids that have an extra year but we put them through senior day. So in December, they can decide, hey, I might want to come back or whatever, but when we talk about that, these seniors have been through, a lot of them have been through a 1-6 spring season, that COVID, and been through a 3-7, been through a 7-4 where they didn't make the playoffs. So, for us, it's a chance for them to bring their families in and celebrate, because to be here, it takes support of your family. But we're constantly teaching those guys, the time is now. It's the second week of November. We got to play our best football in November. And that means offensively, defensively, and special teams where we're complementary football. If our defense gets a stop, offense got to get first downs. Offense scores, our defense got to get a stop. Our special teams got to win the field position battle. Those are things we constantly work on a Tuesday practice, in our meetings. So, are we there yet? No. but I do believe our kids can do it, and when we see that, you're going to see a complete different team on that field.